Welcome to Arches National Park. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Kat.
I'm Harry.
And here we are today in Arches National Park.
The entry to Arches is right off the 191, where we found out you can get a Utah Parks Pass to see the Mighty Five for only $55. But you won't see any arches from here. You have to drive up that mountainside first. However, first stop for us is always the Visitor Center to learn more about the geology, the people, and the animals of the area. We got our stamp, our sticker, and then, as with the other Utah parks, saw some very familiar information about the geology, but also found out some new stuff too, including the startling fact that there are over 2,000 arches here. Learning about the sedimentary layers at each of these parks has been fun, but we were both blown away with how many different types there are in arches. The variety of the colors here has always impressed us, and now we know why. The palette is huge. Laid down over 300 million years, the levels of rocks have been shaped by wind and water as new layers were added to the mix, creating the magical sights that we see today. This center reminds you that this project is an ongoing one, and what you see today may not be there the next time you return. And the first arch you see is here, along with beautiful views of red rocks. The first peoples arrived as long as 10,000 years ago, with the ancestral Puebloans arriving around 2,000 years ago as seasonal visitors. There are some fun interactives to explore here, so you can learn about the plants and animals who live here now, along with when and where you might be able to see them. This is one of the reasons we love visitor centers. It reminds us of what we're protecting and how fragile these environments are, no matter how durable they appear. Quick tip, take a photo with your phone of the signs that interest you the most so you can refer back to them quickly. Arches is also a one-way in and out park with a few out and back turnoffs along the way. It's 18 miles from the visitor center to the Devil's Garden, which is the last stop on the main route, with so many incredible scenic vistas to enjoy along the way.
So you want to arrive a little bit earlier or on time. The line was really long, so we barely made it in with our time reservation. But one good thing about that is it's not really overly crowded when we got in this morning. So the visitor center was clear, and it doesn't seem that crowded yet.
So Harry brings up a good point. This time of year, between May and September, you will need a timed reservation. Those go for reservations about 3 months ahead of time. So make sure to check your national park to make sure if they need reservations so you can reserve early enough and be able to join us at someplace like Arches National Park.
The Park Avenue Trail allows you to walk down into the valley surrounded by the huge rock walls. It begins with a paved bit that takes you to the viewpoint, and then, if you have the time and ability, you head down some stairs to the valley floor for a 1.8-mile easy loop hike. Lots of movies have been filmed here in Arches, and Park Avenue is where they filmed the young Indy in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. For those of us who love movie locations, there are at least 11 within this park to enjoy. We have visited before, and while the arches are a unique draw to this area, it is this view that I think of each time someone says the name. Incredible red rock orange formations and impossibly blue skies grab you and take your breath away. The vastness of the terrain reminds me of just how small we are on this earth and how amazing it can be to explore it. This hawk formation on the Oregon reminded me that Wendy says hi.
I just found out that in between these two pieces, where you see a little tiny arch at the bottom of the left ridge, there used to be an arch that extended from the left to the right.
time to head to Devil's Garden.
I hope you don't mind if I say that I love you, 'cause there's so many ways that I want to carve out our names, board a last minute plane, just us two. We can chase the sun as it sets in the mountains, find luck like a bet in Greek fountains, or lay lazy in bed with your head on my chest. I hope you don't mind if I say that I love you. Every day another I do, 'cause you know I do, I do, I do. I hope you can hear every note that my heart sings, like a choir of bells, how they all ring. Oh, can't you tell, neath the timpani swells and heartstrings, there's a place deep in our hearts where it matters. We can stay there forever and after, written in stars right above where we are. I hope you don't mind.
Landscape Arch is a 1.8-mile loop here, but pay attention to the signs, which go over what the terrain is like, and be prepared. We didn't decide to hike today due to time,
But we wanted to stop here at Devil's Garden to tell you two things. One, this is only one of two places in the park you can get water, so make sure you pack it in. It is also an extremely crowded place in the park. So as you can see behind me, there are rows and rows of cars, very little parking, and that's because this is a major trailhead. There are 3 or 4 different trails of different lengths, including the 7.8-mile full Devil's Garden tour, which will give you a lot of arches to stare at. Right now, we're going to catch one just down the road. So for those of you who are more accessibly challenged, you can see an arch right from the road. This is Skyline Arch. You can take the trail too. It's half mile in and back round trip.
Skyline Arch Trail is one we definitely recommend. It is not truly accessible because of those stairs, and it has a bit of an incline, but most of the trail is fairly flat. It is definitely one of the easiest of the arches to see up close. We did find out that you can drive around to the campground amphitheater and take the paved path to the arch if you can't deal with the stairs or elevation. For us, it was a relatively easy walk with views of the arch along the way. Am I the only one who sees an elephant in that? I know, I see faces in everything, but seriously, there's an elephant, right? The arch measures 71 feet across and 33.5 feet tall. For now. You can see boulders from the last collapse below the arch today. On the way back, you're presented once again with gorgeous views of wide open spaces. Our next stop is also a short hike. Sand Dune Arch is also just a quarter-mile trail out to see the arch. You can also take the longer 2.3-mile trail to see Broken Arch up close. There are all sorts of trails out here to explore. We wanted to see Sand Dune Arch, and Harry did a quick look to see if it was accessible for me. He came back quickly to say that there is deep sand, and that I may not be able to navigate it. For me, it was the tight spaces that freaked me out. There are 2 on the way there. But if you can handle tight spaces and deep sand, then there is a huge payoff at the end. And because the walls are so close together here, everything glows orange. Such a cool little hike. It really only took Harry a few minutes to get back to the arch, where he was able to stand underneath it and, yes, take his picture. The fiery furnace was one of my favorite stops because it's here you can really see the different layers and types of stones in the formation. It is here that the rocks look the most painted to me. With the spring flowers and the incredible tree formations, it was a great place to hang out for a bit and just enjoy the views. You can hike here, but you have to book a ranger-led hike or get individual hiking permits on recreation.gov. It's a bit of a labyrinth, and you will be doing some rock scrambling and squeezing through some tight spaces. But if all of that sounds exciting to you, then this would be the place to go and explore. For the rest of us, there's an easy walk down to the overlook, and the scenic views are breathtaking. Most people think of Delicate Arch when they think of this national park because it's pictured on the license plate. This is where we decided to picnic.
The Delicate Arch can be seen two ways. One, hiking up to it, or two, go to the viewpoint. It's about 200 feet from the parking lot. Pretty even, a little bit of an incline coming up, but definitely doable if you have a little bit of mobility issues. And there's the arch right up there on the hill. The formations are pretty cool. I love the green that you see, not just in the plants and trees, but the ones you see in the dirt. Spring has been good to the desert this year.
It's a difficult 3 miles up to the arch, so we viewed it from below and got to see this collared lizard too.
Now, what we said about water isn't true about restrooms. They are everywhere. So every drive you take down to a final pullout will have a restroom. So those are convenient. We're about to go find some place to have our picnic, and there I will share with you our best tip for touring Arches National Park.
Oh, you got the floor already. You already got the floor. Okay.
So our best tip for visiting a park like Arches, where water is limited, is to bring your own ice chest. Water, soda, this is what we call our dry chest, and it holds things like those sandwiches you saw. And then we have a dry bag, which holds utensils and anything like chips, paper towels, and we always bring along our own tablecloth because, well, you don't know what else has been on those tables that you're eating at. So a little bit of preparation goes a long way. You end up having water all day long because there's only 2 places in this park you can get it.
Moab newspaperman Lauren Bish Taylor wrote about the marvels of this area in 1911. In 1929, President Hoover established Arches as a national monument. The boundaries of Arches changed many times over the years, and it wasn't until 1971 that Congress made Arches a national park.
This is the petrified sand dunes, and they're not actually petrified because to be petrified you had to start out organic, like wood. So what happened was that blew the sand over here, the sand was covered and then cemented underneath, and then the erosion took away the top layer and left the Navajo sandstone.
With views like these, it's hard to understand why it took them so long to make this a national park. The trail out to the windows is about a mile and fairly easy going. Wheelchairs could access this trail with a little assistance. The trail out to double windows is shorter, only about a half mile, but the terrain is the same.
This is double windows, and we found out today that even those that you can't see through yet, like the ones on the right, those are still considered arches. We've been calling them baby arches all day. And then you have the double arches like the one in the center, and then the one on the left, which is getting to be more of a double arch, I'm sure, with every 1,000 years or so. But very cool.
This area would easily fill up an afternoon simply because of the easy trails that lead you to so many arch locations. Because of this, the parking lot is very full most of the day, but if you can find parking, then grab it. It's just so cool to get this close to these formations and feel how massive they are and how small you are in comparison. And look closely too, you can see new arches beginning to form. That's what we were calling baby arches. It's a nice reminder that there are literally arches everywhere you look, all over the park. And we saw many as we headed back to where we started at the end of our day.
All right, everyone, we are signing off from Arches. Today was a great day. I think we even discovered a couple of new baby arches along the way.
We thought we found some that we're going to say in our mind nobody else has seen before.
So my favorite were the trio set of double arches that we showed you last. Those are so cool.
From windows. I think my favorite was probably the sand dune arch, just because it's right there. I mean, it's not a huge arch, overhead. It is really close. It's a little bit, I don't know, it's not very easily accessible as far as it goes. If you're talking about accessibility, the sand is really soft, and it is a little bit of uphill, but the sand is really soft. And there's it's kind of narrow in some spots to get there.
But I think accessibility wise, I think Skyline Arch is probably the easiest for non-hikers.
Yeah, the terrain is solid, and you're not scrambling over any rocks or anything, very many rocks or anything like that. So it is accessible, for a non-hiker. Lazy wanderer approved, I guess.
Okay, so we are going to sign off here from Courthouse Towers. As you see, everything here is very dramatic. These parks here in Utah have been extremely dramatic. So everybody, take care, safe travels, and we'll see you next time.
Our thanks to Moab for being a wonderful place to explore the last 2 parks of the Utah Mighty 5. We had great pizza at Canyon Pizza, grabbed another shave ice at the food trucks before calling it a night. Join us next time as we head to Colorado and explore the Black Canyon of the Gunnison.
All right, folks, we're wrapping up from Arches, taking off.
You didn't say anything you said before. All right.